Today we're going to talk about Google's applications in academia and how they can be beneficial for both teachers and students, and just some of the applications that Google has available for us to use. To start, we need to talk about slides, docs, and sheets. These are Google's answer to lengthy and expensive Microsoft subscriptions, and they are completely free to use up to a certain point, just based on data expenditure. Slides is essentially Google's version of PowerPoint. It has the same animations, it has font integration, and it has everything you can need for a basic keynote presentation. Word is Google's version of a word processor. Just like Microsoft Word or Apple's Pages, it is a completely free application that you are able to use to write essays or make any type of PDF or doc you need. And then Sheets is Google's answer to Excel. Sheets is a calculator, Sheet is a spreadsheet, Sheet is a way to keep track of things. Sheets is just an overarching thing to have and to use, and my mouse is just on the screen. Oh no, it was on my recording screen. But Sheets is just a really good thing to have if you need to make a spreadsheet as both a teacher or a student. Following that, I want to talk about Notebook LM. Now, I didn't know what Notebook LM was until I started looking into some of Google's applications. This is kind of a Google launch for an AI notebook where you feed your information into the AI and it will come up and help you with your research and your study. The big thing about this is that it's not going through everything on the internet. It's not going through just a wide set database that has been already fed to it. You have to feed it the information. So that's where it gets its information from, is directly from you. I think as a student, this could really help as a study tool. And as a teacher, this can really help as an organizational tool. It is an AI tool though. So as a teacher, you need to make sure you keep everything confidential, and you need to make sure you kind of keep your bearings about you. I'm not the biggest fan of AI tools, so I most likely will continue to avoid it. But for people who need help organizing and keeping things straight in your classroom, Notebook LM might be something to look into. Following that is something I learned about in middle school. I think it is one of my favorite Google applications that I've ever used, and that is Google Scholar. We started using Google Scholar at my school, so that way we could start researching more academic papers and finding a more trustworthy source of knowledge than just Googling. Because the top 10 results for Google could be something that's been paid for, or might be something that's a little bit misleading. Whereas Google Scholar is a publication that gathers research articles and puts them together so that way you have easy access. And then my absolute favorite application YouTube has ever created, and an amazing source for so much knowledge, is YouTube. Now, I could say that the Google search engine itself is an amazing tool and is one of the best applications you can use in a classroom, because it's going to be an application you should use in a classroom. Now, I could say that Google search engine is the application that you will most use in your classroom, but I don't want to say that, because you could always use something like DuckDuckGo, Safari, Firefox, or another search engine that might be more suited to what you're used to and what you want to use. Whereas Google is kind of just the baseline for many people. YouTube is what you're watching this on. YouTube is a huge source of knowledge and a huge source of entertainment that can be used so incredibly well as long as it is used properly. Now in the classroom, you need to make sure you vet links and you watch videos and make sure that your students aren't just kind of veering off path. And then you yourself need to make sure that you have paid attention and you are paying close attention to what you are watching and what you are feeding your students, so that way you're not just giving them some absolute, off the wall, unresearched information that came from somebody who might not be very well informed. Those are some of my favorite applications. Some mentions that I didn't necessarily add to this PowerPoint, but things you should look into are Google Drive. As long as you have a Google account, you have a file in the cloud. You're able to store things across several different devices, which can help you keep up with your work. It can help you not lose things like I have in the past. I've definitely been working on a worksheet, or I have worked on an essay and I went to save it, and the next thing you know, something has happened and it's gone. And Google's cloud service has been pretty reliable, at least it has been for me, for several years. We can also talk about Gmail, which is just a convenient form of email. It can connect businesses, and if you use Google Sites, you can have your own email with your site tag at the end. Then there is, of course, Google Chats, which is a pretty solid way to get in contact with colleagues and get in contact with other people. And Google Chats also has a function where if you're in a business and you have HIPAA laws, they have special protections for this. And with all of that, I'll also add in Google Gemini is a pretty strong AI tool. It's the only one I have ever actively used. I personally try to avoid ChatGPT and other OpenAI sources, and Gemini has just been the one whenever I've been instructed to use AI in a classroom that I use, just because it's convenient, it works well, and it has a connection to Google, which again is the world's leading search engine. So Google provides so many amazing services that you should check out and you should look into. And I highly recommend using Google services in your classroom, specifically the ones I mentioned. I don't plan on using things like Notebook, LM, or Gemini in the classroom. I, again, am biased against AI tools, but YouTube has been a part of my educational journey since I was young. Google Drive, Gmail, Docs, and Slides have been a part of my educational journey since I was maybe in middle school, and I have actively used them when I couldn't afford or didn't want to pay for Microsoft services. They are very user-friendly. That is all I have for this PowerPoint, so I hope this helps you find sources and tools through Google or other sources that you can use in your classroom. Thank you.